Hey everyone, Complex back with another video, and today we're back to Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access, and I want to go over a few things that you might not know about the game, and if you now know them, it could potentially make your time in Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access either a little bit easier or a little bit more fun, or maybe a combination of both. So, let's just dive on into it. Now, first up, let's talk about the hotbar. If you're anything like me as a player, you kind of want everything at your fingertips all at once. And while the hotbar itself is pretty generous considering that you can scroll through 5 of them, it's a little short. Good news though, there's actually a plus and a minus button next to the edge of it, and if you hit that plus button, it actually will continually extend the hotbar until it's double the size of what it was originally. And then you can just move stuff around at will and reorganize your hotbar and actually have more space, and you'll still get access to all 5 of the toggle through bars, so you'll now have legitimately double the space that you already had, which is pretty awesome. And if you start playing around like this and you're like, I really don't like it, don't worry, you can always hit the subtract button down here, the minus sign, and it'll just continually bring it back in until it's the original size from when you first started playing the game. And as you could just see, it actually does auto bring everything in nice and tight as you're doing that. So if you have any stuff that's kind of way out here and you bring it in closer, it'll just auto organize it for you as you're going, which is really nice. Tip number 2, did you know that you can name your save files? That's right. If you go ahead and hit the escape button and then you hit the save option and you hit new save up here, you can actually go ahead and name your save file. So if you want to test something out in the game, or you're going to run multiple characters at once, you can name the save so that way you can find where you were easily. So for instance, if I name this Mia 002. I know that this is Mia, who's the character that I'm on currently, and she's brand new. I know that this is her second full save file, and it's easy to kind of toggle back and forth. And then if I go ahead and go to load, you can see I have Mia 02, and then I have Mia 01 from back when I was at the start of the game. So it's just a really easy way to keep yourself organized. And additionally, if you go into your options and you go into the gameplay, you can toggle on and off autosaves, and you can change the number of quick saves as well as the number of autosaves. And with the game being in early access, I would highly suggest doing a max number of pretty much all the saves if that is something that you are worried about, like the game crashing, losing any progress, anything like that, and quick saving often. But the one thing to bear in mind is that the autosaves and quick saves are not per character, but they are overall in the game total. So if you're running 3 different characters and you only have 15 or 10 quick saves set, it will rotate through. So if you do a quick save on one character and then you load into another character and you only have 10 quick saves, by the time you do 10 quick saves on your second character, it will have already rewritten the quick save on the other character that you had played. So just make sure that you're bearing that in mind and still doing big saves before you either exit the game or switch to a different character. Now let's talk about something a little different, which is, well, how to change out companions. Within the early access, you are going to have more than 3 companions that you'll have access to, and at some point you're probably going to want to change them out and travel with somebody else. Now the easiest way to do that is to bring up your map, and you can see here under the waypoints on the right hand side, you're going to have access to camp. And if you click that, it will bring you to your camp with all of your companions, the ones that are either staying at your camp or the ones that were just traveling with you. Now from here, you can go ahead and click in and talk to any of the ones that you'd like. And if you want to dismiss one, you can dismiss them and then go ahead and talk to whatever companion you'd like to bring with you. And as you can see in my bar, I have changed out my companion, so I have left a Shadowheart behind and I have picked up Gale. Now if you go ahead and re-bring up your map and under the waypoints once again hit leave camp, you'll see I have been brought back to where I had started, and I now have Gale in my company as opposed to having Shadowheart, and everybody is still toggled together, and my familiar has also stayed, which is a really nice bonus. And speaking of camp, did you know that there is actually a camp storage for you if you'd like to have access to it? And you can put stuff in that camp storage from anywhere that you are. That's right. If you bring up your inventory and let's say I want to put this clamshell in my camp inventory. Why? I don't know, but maybe I do. You can just right click on the item and hit send to camp. And that item will now be in your camp inventory. So if you have a ton of stuff and you don't want to offload it onto one of your companions, or you just don't have time to sell it, or it's something that you want to hold on to because it seems kind of precious, you can just go ahead and send it from wherever you are. And let me show you how to access that inventory while you're at camp. And now that we're back at camp, you can see if you go ahead and hold down the Alt button on your keyboard, a label pops up in the back for the Traveler's Chest. And that is where your camp storage is located. And if I go ahead and walk on over to it, it'll pop up. And you can see here that the clamshell that I had put in from the other place is actually still there. And if you bring up your inventory again while you have this open, you can easily just drag and drop items into it as well. So if that's something that you want to do, kind of manually go through all of your inventory and add stuff in here, you absolutely can. Now, one of the last things that we should talk about is companion approval. You might have noticed as you've been playing the game that in the upper left-hand side of your screen, when you're having dialogue with pretty much anybody, occasionally you'll see Shadowheart approves, Shadowheart disapproves, Gale liked that, Gale didn't like that. Now, the interesting thing is with a lot of different games, if you, let's say, leave Gale at camp and then go have a conversation somewhere far, far away from Gale that you know he isn't going to like your answer for, you won't see an approval or disapproval. But with Baldur's Gate, you will actually still see that approval or disapproval from the companion. So bear that in mind. There is no way to kind of cheat the system and say, oh, you know what? I'm going to leave so-and-so back at camp. I'm going to go have this conversation that I know they're going to despise and then bring them back with me traveling and everything will be hunky-dory. It won't. They will either approve or disapprove, just like if they were with you. So do make sure that you're bearing that in mind as you're going ahead and developing your character, especially if there's somebody that you want to get either romantic with or you want to make sure that they dislike you or super like you. But y'all, that is going to be it from me today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that these tips and tricks helped, especially if you are new to the game. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments down below or go ahead and find me on Twitch. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night and or day, depending on where you are in the world, and I will catch you next time. Bye, guys.